Hello, I'm John Rossi, a touring drummer with the love of all things animal. When I'm on the road, I visit as many zoos, aquariums... Hey, wait a minute. What's going on? Hey, what's going on there? Hello? 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 We interrupt your regularly scheduled program to bring you Rossifari Zoo news. News you can use from the world of zoos and conservation. Every week, we bring you breaking news and analysis from around the globe, featuring the animals you love and the people who care for them. And here's your anchorman, John Rossi. Hi, hello, how are you? Welcome back to Rossifari Zoo News, your look at everything going on in the world of zoos, aquariums, conservation, general animal weirdness, and, my life. And that's what we normally start with. So, I finished my run of A Night with Janis Joplin at Totem Pole Playhouse and then at Mount Gretna Playhouse. And it was awesome. And lots of friends came out and saw the show, and it was a really good time. And I just love playing that show. But now I'm returning to the world of rockabilly a little bit. I mentioned that I'm taking the year off from $1 Million Quartet, but I am going to go to Meredith, New Hampshire this upcoming Saturday and Sunday for 4 shows with my buddy Jason's show, Great Balls of Fire. And of course, since I'm going to be up there, I'm visiting Roger Williams Park Zoo and Southwick Zoo on Monday. And I love the people there so much. I have so many friends at Roger Williams that I can't wait to see. And I can't wait to see Danny and Megan and the whole team, Emily, the whole team at Southwick's. And I'm so excited. It's going to be such a good day. And then the other big exciting news is that we've officially signed a lease for a home in Virginia. So we're going to be living in the Hampton area, which is right near Newport News. We're actually going to be living right near where a lot of people that live at the Virginia Living Museum work. I said that backwards. You caught that, right? We're going to be living where a lot of the people who work at the Virginia Living Museum live. There we go. Knew we'd get there in the end. Anyway, so very excited about all of that. But the big news this week in my personal life is that Miles has been visiting this week. And so we did a couple fun things together that I wanted to share with you guys. So I'm going to drop that in as the headline story in Zoo News. So we'll get to that in a minute. But before we do, quick reminder, follow along, hit subscribe so you don't miss any episodes. Follow the socials at Rossifari Pod on the TikTok machine. There's a Discord now where you can go and discuss stuff, and that all that stuff is in the show notes. So you can go check that out. And with that said, let's get to it.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Ow, that's a funky monkey. Tree kangaroo. Or a binturong.
It's Zoo News.
Yeah. All right, so Miles, we've had quite the trip this week, including 2 trips to zoological facilities. So let's talk about those. Tell me about your experience at Aquarium of Niagara.
So, after the sad loss of Ari, I was coming up to Buffalo, and the people at the Aquarium of Niagara just told Dad, hey, let Miles pop on over, and we have something special planned for him.
And what was that?
It was getting to meet a sea lion up close, and it was Copper.
Yeah, and Copper has always been your favorite at the aquarium, right?
Yeah, Ari had a special place in my heart, though.
Yeah, no, I know. Well, and you love them all. But so you and I got to go out on the stage and spend some time with Copper. And you got to do something really cool, which is you got to learn a couple of the cues and then give them to Copper to see what they were doing. Yes, you don't need to act it out now because this is an audio-only podcast. Thank you. But talk about some of the things that we did out there.
The cues were to make Copper go around in a big circle around the entire sea lion enclosure because it's a circular area.
Pool is the word you're looking for, yes. And Copper does this move where she'll go really fast the whole way across the edge, like around the edge of it. It's really amazing to watch.
Yeah, it was so cool.
Yeah. And then you also got to do, all of the standard things, hanging out with the sea lion as we get to do, and got lots of cool pictures. And then something that really surprised me was that Isabel wanted to spend some time with Zoe, and that's the other sea lion there. And Isabel doesn't do a lot of encounters, but Kristen said that you were allowed to come back on. So you got to meet Isabel as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't even know what happened there. So what happened there?
So it was pretty cool. We stepped in a thing of disinfectant, and after we stepped in it, we were able to go out in the front into the exhibit. And Isabel was waiting there right on the little rock they have there. And so she slid on over, and she was a little more shy. And Kristen, the employee there helping us, was the trainer, not employee.
She is an employee, but she's employed as a trainer. Good job.
Yes, Kristen, the trainer, they're helping us out. So she told us that she, unlike Copper, was a little more shy, but Isabel knew Zoe. And so Isabel was just like, oh, I know Zoe. Let's hang out with her. And so they were just all hanging out. And we got to do some tricks. We had her wave. Zoe got some pictures. She blew us kisses. She swam around. We got to give her treats. It was really cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and afterward we came out, met back up with Dad, and we went on to enjoy the aquarium some more.
Absolutely. And then we also went to the Buffalo Zoo this week, where our good friend Trisha Gunther set something up, and I had no clue. Well, I mean, I didn't know what was going to happen at Aquarium of Niagara either, but being there so much, I know all the options. I had no clue what was going to happen at the Buffalo Zoo. This was actually my first time doing anything behind the scenes at the Buffalo Zoo. And what did Trisha set up for you?
She set up the ability to go in and see the polar bear.
Yep, it was the male polar bear Sakari. And what did you think of that?
That was really cool, but I have to put it in here. It wasn't that I actually went into the exhibit. You didn't walk into the exhibit.
It was protected contact. Yeah, we know. They know. Yeah, but good job. But we also got to witness a training session. They did a full-on training session. And the coolest part of that to me, I don't know about you, but the coolest part of that to me was the up behavior. So they do a thing where Sakari goes all the way up on on the gate area there, and they can inspect his entire body. And that is a 1,200-pound bear. That's a big bear. And when they're down on all four, it's hard to tell how big they are sometimes. But my goodness, were you blown away by that?
Yeah. If I had, if there were two of me would be the polar bear's height.
Yeah, it was crazy. Yeah, that's such a big bear.
And I'm 5 foot.
So that was exciting. And we had a great day at the zoo otherwise. But something interesting happened at the zoo that didn't surprise me. That did surprise me. Did I say didn't? Yes, because you're dancing like a goober over here and distracting me. You make recording hard, but I love you. Anyway, something really surprised me, which is I obviously expected you to leave there and be like, holy crap, like polar bears are the coolest thing ever. And you did, except you fell in love with another animal there. And it was an animal that had just debuted on Habitat that day. They actually announced it after we left, named Mozzarella. So who was Mozzarella?
She was a capybara.
Yes. And you're now obsessed with cappies, right?
Yes.
Like to the point where you wanted a stuffed cappy and we got you one, and you want to see more pictures, and like you even bought capybara as a pet in your Tamagotchi life game, knowing full well that would not make a good pet in the real world, right?
Yep. And I was like, part of me wants one as a pet, and part of me is like, you can't.
Good job, that part. But the interesting thing to me is it just goes to show you never know what's going to happen. Miles has not only seen capybaras before, but has seen capybaras at the Buffalo Zoo. But this is a new one, and it's a little bit smaller. And I don't know if that's why Miles connected or not, but I couldn't get him away from that habitat. As a matter of fact, the way the building's set up, you can see the capybara from two different sides. And he stopped for a long time at the first one. And then as we were leaving, I was like out the building, and I turned around and I was like, I'm alone. And it turned out Miles was still just standing watching the cappy. So you just had a cappy moment, huh?
Mm-hmm. A happy cappy moment.
Yeah. And that just like, those are the moments that change your life. And I love that. And I love that on a day when you met a polar bear, which obviously, again, super important, super memorable, all the good things, but you ended up falling in love with a capybara.
Yeah.
That's weird in the best way possible, right? And that's what animals do. How many times did I see red pandas before I saw Maylin? A bunch. And then I saw Maylin and I was like, oh, I love them forever now. Who can explain it? But that's the magic of animals. Anything else you want to say?
Yeah, I would like to thank the Buffalo Zoo and the Aquarium of Niagara for these wonderful experiences. And I really hope that we're able to do more things in the future, and I hope that we're able to be friends of the podcast forever.
Oh, they will be. All right, buddy. Thank you so much. All right. And so that brings us to the rest of our zoo news for the week. And we are going to start, of course, with our births and deaths. And so the San Antonio Zoo has announced the birth of a new tree kangaroo, Joey, to Mom Finney and Dad Tobai. This is super exciting, as both of the parents only recently arrived at the zoo. The little one is still in the pouch full-time, but if you check the zoo's socials, you'll be able to get a look at the pouch potato from a recent pouch check and exam. So obviously, I'm incredibly excited about this very important birth. Yay! SeaWorld Yas Island in Abu Dhabi has welcomed a baby Pacific walrus calf to the facility. Walruses are incredible animals, and you don't hear about a lot of births in the community. I mean, there aren't that many to begin with. But so, yeah, this is very exciting news, and hopefully the calf does well. Cape May County Zoo has welcomed 6 baby capybaras, which I need to tell Miles about, I guess. But yeah, they're also known as pups, or caplets in my world. And their mother is Marigold. The 6 little ones are visible on Habitat, although they do have indoor access. And yeah, so you might not see them, but if you get the chance to, they are very worth seeing. Now, for those of you that can't make it there, just picture 6 potatoes with coconut husks, but like cute. Okay, never mind. Anyway, and then last but not least in our births, a new spotted hyena cub has been born to Mom Peely and Dad Niru at the Hattiesburg Zoo. Peely is proving to be a great mother, which is awesome. Spotted hyena cubs are rare amongst baby animals, both in that you don't hear about a lot of births in the zoo community, but also in that they are born with their eyes open and a full set of teeth. And I think every mom just went, yikes. But yeah, the little one is currently all black because spotted hyenas, I guess, don't get their famous coloration until later in life. So very cute picture. Check out Hattiesburg Zoo's social media to find that. And then, of course, that does bring us to our deaths for the week. And we're going to start with a really hard, really personal one. Tasik, the 25-year-old binturong that called the Virginia Zoo home, has passed away. Tasik was one of the first binturongs I ever fell in love with, and obviously he had a huge impact on my life. Tasik was the binturong who inspired me to have tied in knots crocheting make a stuffed binturong, which led to the Virginia Zoo starting to sell them in their gift shop, all of which led to Zoe getting a job at the Virginia Living Museum. If you haven't heard that full story, it's back a couple episodes ago. Let me know. I can give you a link, but like, it is truly amazing. But, Zoe gets to be a zoo vet because of Tasik and like all the hard work she put in and stuff, but yeah, Tasik. And he was also the picture that I took and, used on the recent Animals Anonymous fundraiser for AB conservation. He's also the first binturong that inspired me to start the Safe Binturong program, which we're still, obviously working on getting put together, but it's getting close. And I will say that the rest of the work that I do for getting that organization up and running, and also the work I do beyond that, will definitely be dedicated to Tasik. Yeah. I'm just genuinely so sad about this one. With a median life expectancy under 18 years old for male binturongs in the AZA, we don't fully know what goes on out in their natural habitat, but we believe it to be significantly less. But Tasik was a super old boy, and he showed it in ways like grumpiness and a little bit of arthritis and stuff. But honestly, Tasik was just Tasik. He was thriving until the end. On Monday morning this week, he started to show signs of rapid decline, and the decision was made that it would be in his best interest to euthanize him. And so it wasn't long. He didn't suffer. He just stayed his grumpy old man self until the very end. And I know that Tasik has had such a huge impact on so many people at the Virginia Zoo, on me, on the people that work there, on Tied in Knots Crocheting, and it's just a really sad loss. And I was talking to a friend at the Virginia Zoo about this, and just thinking about how it's such an honor and a privilege to get to love these animals, and how putting together these obituaries or saying goodbye is the trickiest part of it all, but also it's worth it to be able to share those animals with our own lives and with so many people. I had a few people reach out when this announcement was made and be like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I never made it to the Virginia Zoo, but I love Tasik because of everything you said about him on the podcast. And like, that's amazing. And, you know, I've said this before, but it's incredible to me that these animals in zoos and aquariums have these amazing impacts on people, and they don't know it. I had a completely parasocial relationship with Tasik. You know, never even met, like saw him at the zoo, but never got to go behind the scenes with him or anything. But boy, oh boy, did he impact my life. So yeah, going to truly, truly miss him. Moving on from Tasik, because I could talk all day, the Smithsonian Zoo has said goodbye to Mr. Henry, the 59-year-old king vulture. He showed no signs of illness, but apparently suffered from renal failure, which showed up right at the end of his life. He lived at the zoo since 1978, and for 48 years, he and his mate, a 53-year-old bird named Henry, called the birdhouse home together. Yep, the pair was Henry and Mr. Henry. Gotta love it. Over the years, they had 4 chicks together, and one of the coolest things about that long life is that Sarah Halliger, the curator of birds at the zoo, and also a former Rossifari guest, cared for the pair since 1989, and that's just incredible. So sending love to Sarah, the entire team, and of course to Henry for the loss of Mr. Henry. Sammy, the striped skunk, has passed away at Maritime Aquarium. He was an older skunk and passed away from age-related health conditions. As an ambassador animal, Sammy had a huge impact on making many guests fall in love with an often misunderstood species that should be loved, but often isn't because, well, stinky. But that impact and the impact that ambassador skunks have is really important. So good job, Sammy. And then last but not least in this section, Cape May County Zoo has announced the passing of both their snow leopards, Malia and Batar. Malia was only 13 years old and was euthanized in April after an unexpected medical event. Batar was recently euthanized due to age-related health concerns. At almost 18 years old, he was one of the oldest snow leopards in the United States. So sending love, that was quite an iconic pair, and they are missed. And then moving on from births and deaths, we get to the rest of our zoo news section for the week. Cheyenne Mountain Zoo has announced the arrival of 6-month-old grizzly bear cubs. The cubs were found abandoned and now need to live their lives in human care, and they are getting an incredible home at Cheyenne Mountain Zoo. But along with just loving that and that zoos do that kind of thing, one thing that I really loved and wanted to give them props for is that the zoo called the arrival bittersweet, because they were acknowledging that these animals wouldn't need to be at the zoo and would be able to stay wild if not for, you know, whatever happened to the mother and for so many of the issues that we cause in the wild in general. All of these mountain lions and bears and animals that get sent to zoos because they can't live in the wild anymore because, you know, mom died or whatever. It's all because of human stuff, and that is bittersweet. And I love that Cheyenne Mountain Zoo is both getting people excited to see these cubs and acknowledging that it's a bummer that they have to. Okay, so I've talked about this before, but one thing I love talking about on this podcast is visiting zoos at night whenever the opportunity presents. Again, don't break in, and if you do, certainly don't tell them Rossifari told you to. But it really is an amazing and different experience than the normal zoo trip. And sadly, now one of the best ways to do that is coming to an end, and I'm pretty bummed about it. The San Diego Zoo has announced that Nighttime Zoo is ending, with the last day being August 9th. Nighttime Zoo has been the summer-long program where the zoo stayed open until 9 p.m. for the last 31 years, and often up at the front they would have all kinds of cool entertainment going on and all that stuff. It made it feel more like just the front part, not the actual zoo, but just like the entryway felt more like Disney at night, like a theme park, all without like messing with the vibe when you were with the animals. And people seem to really love that. I would hide in the main zoo and like go see tigers at night, which was absolutely incredible. Yeah, so I have to say that some of my favorite memories of that zoo, honestly, of any zoo, come from my visits during that time period. So while I'm sure the zoo has a great reason for this decision, it really does feel like quite the loss of something special to me. Oh my gosh, I have this memory. I was there with a friend, and on one of the buses, there was the person who does the bus tours had this incredible voice and just sang Disney songs. And I'm not a big Disney adult at all, but there's something about busing through a zoo to go see some more animals that you love and being sung to in Twilight in San Diego. It was very cool. So, yeah, if you have the chance, get out to the zoo before this amazing tradition ends this summer. I know that's not easy for a lot of people, but man, I can't recommend trying hard enough. Turtleback Zoo was recently evacuated, and not for the reason so many zoos have been evacuated recently. No swatting here. Instead, it's because a bear wandered into the zoo. Everyone and everything was fine, and the zoo staff did an incredible job keeping everyone safe and evacuating and all that good stuff. And honestly, given how nice the bear habitat is at the zoo, I can't help but wonder if this wild bear just wanted to hang out with Jelly, the bear that currently calls the zoo home. But yeah, it was interesting. Apparently it took pretty much all day to get the bear trapped and removed. And, the government did move the bear, up north away from where it would, be bothering people and zoos. But, absolutely crazy to think about a bear look, we talk about bonus animals all the time, but that is a rather large and rather growly bonus animal. And honestly, those aren't the only ones that have them sometimes. When we've done Roar and Snore at the San Diego Zoo Safari Park, they've mentioned mountain lions occasionally getting into the park, and they don't kill the animals or anything. It's all well handled, and there's a lot of security and fencing and all that stuff. But yeah, definitely something interesting to think about. And then I wonder why they're stopping zoo at night in San Diego. Maybe it's because of stuff like that. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, so, and then last but not least in this section, this actually isn't zoo news per se, but it's close enough that I'm including it in this section. So there is a giraffe that is just missing in Texas right now. The giraffe in question is privately owned, and somehow this freaking giraffe has been missing for days now, despite the fact that, it's a giraffe and it's Texas. It's absolutely crazy. Can you imagine an animal the size of a giraffe just disappearing? We haven't talked about something crazy like that since... So right, last week when we discussed the missing ones from the Natural Bridge Zoo that were recently rediscovered. Seriously, how does this keep being a thing? How is this a thing, y'all? They are tall. They're giraffes. And actually, on a side note, the Natural Bridge lawsuit situation, the trial is moving forward. The charges are going to be broken up into a bunch of different trials now. It's going to be a whole thing, and it's not looking great for those people. So fingers crossed that let's just say that justice is served, whatever that may be. And for everyone out there, stop losing giraffes. Stereotypical animal podcast theme song. Here to bring you to conservation news. A small but positive step has happened. What?
I lost the giraffe.
Not again. Anyway, a small but positive step has happened in the quest to stop future sloth world incidents in Florida. The Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission, or FWC, has announced that sloths can no longer be imported into Florida under blanket Class 3 import permits. Now, anyone wishing to import a sloth must obtain a separate wildlife importation permit for sloths, which means the import of sloths to Florida has not been banned yet. But this was actually part of the recommendations we talked about recently that the various sloth organizations recommended to Florida. And basically what this means is that, in theory, there will be an extended look at anyone who wants to bring a sloth into the state. And it won't just be a blanket thing for anybody that can have Class 3 animals, which are very much easier to handle animals. So... yeah, this is a step in the right direction. Hopefully it'll help. Is it good enough? No, but it's a start. And honestly, I'm pretty darn happy about that. And then I've talked on here before about SB 1280, which was a bill in the state of Arizona that would have blocked the state's ability to transport Mexican wolf pups into the state and would have prevented public resources from being used to support Mexican wolf conservation and reintroduction efforts. Well, the bill passed the legislature, but Governor Katie Hobbs has vetoed the bill, stating that the science doesn't back the bill and that caring for endangered animals is important. That's huge. That is a huge victory for wolves, and I'm really excited to hear about it. And then third in conservation news this week, and this is crazy because it's only 3 stories, but they're all positive, which makes me really happy, which it's just that the largest wind project in U.S. history, known as SunZia, has started providing power to the state of California. And this is a huge deal for a lot of reasons, but especially right now when the federal government just seems so anti-clean energy and is still yelling about coal and stuff like that. So, yeah, this is really exciting news. And that brings us to...
It's time for other news. It's time for other news. Hey, all right now it's time. It's time for other news. Hey, it's a segue to the part called other news.
All right, so I'm not going to do a super deep dive into this because it's a little bit off our normal topics, but last week I mentioned that one of the carriage horses in New York City had died and that I hadn't done a ton of research into that whole situation, but that I was probably opposed to it. Probably. Well, I have done some research now and talked to some people, not my usual deep dive level. I haven't gone as crazy with it as I often do, but I am now 100% able to say that I am completely opposed to the Central Park horse carriages in New York City. The horse we talked about dying last week is just one of 2 recent incidents, the second of which involved the death of an 18-year-old human after a runaway horse carriage accident in which the teen was thrown from the carriage. And so, yeah, these 2 recent incidents are just the most recent in a stream of accidents and deaths that constantly bring up this issue and get people worked up, and then it kind of fades to the background. And so when I looked at my own stance on it, I approached it from an animal welfare standpoint at first, as I often do. And I am a firm believer that animals such as horses, which are domesticated and used for work all across the world, and are literally bred for that in many cases, do definitely need to be looked at differently than wild animals or non-domesticated animals living in human care. I am not opposed to horses doing work or people riding horses or camels or whatever as actual means of transportation, assuming the work is actually necessary and the animals are well taken care of. So to that point, and just that point, I'm not completely opposed to the idea of carriage horses in New York City as a theory. But digging deeper, I just don't see how it's a sustainable practice that keeps animal welfare at the front of the practice. The horses in question are working in the busiest city in the country, maybe the world, one of them anyway. I regularly have to drive in New York City, and it is without a doubt the most intense place to drive in the country. And I've driven a large portion of this country now. There are more annoying places to drive, like DC or Boston or Los Angeles, or places with way worse drivers per capita, looking at you, Philadelphia. But New York City is just intense. So much so that it's common practice for people who own cars in the city to keep these little bumper protectors on the back because they know that at some point they are going to be, at the very least, rear-ended slightly. It's going to happen. And that's the traffic these horses have to be in at the start of these rides. And on top of that, they have to work regardless of the weather. The city has an average temperature of 28 degrees Fahrenheit in the winter, which is below freezing, and 85 degrees in the summer, which is often made to seem significantly hotter thanks to the lack of shade on the streets and the reflection of the sunlight off the pavement and buildings, and also just the sheer number of humans. Add to that the endless stream of humanity and vehicles, the air pollution, the light pollution, and the fact that being a New Yorker means you might have to root for the Jets or the Mets, and it's just not something I think is okay when it comes to animal welfare. So I am officially opposed. I'm hoping that Mayor Mamdani will do something about this, and I'm going to keep an eye on it and see if there may be some things we need to do to raise some awareness. Like I said, I haven't done a full deep dive yet, but my eyes are open and we're going to be taking a look. And that brings us to...
Oh, animal, oh, animal, animal.
it is still June, which is Zoo and Aquarium Month, World Oceans Month, and Orca Month. There's only one more animal holiday in June, however. The 26th is Take Your Dog to Work Day. And I know that Zoe is going to be celebrating by taking our 3 dogs to work because I won't be here because of the whole gigging thing. And then July is Plastic Free July, National Bison Month, Parks and Rec Month, and Wild About Wildlife Month. And I really do encourage people to try to do Plastic Free July. It's hard, and it's not even like succeeding doesn't mean not using plastic. It means being aware enough to limit your plastic and try to use none. And then if you succeed, that's awesome. And if not, you've still done a great thing for the planet. So, think about it. And then for this week, we have 2 animal holidays in July. The first is International Polycate Day, and the second is World Porcupine Day. And those are your animal holidays for the week. All right, so there you have it, folks. Another episode of Rossifari Zoo News is in the books. I would like to take a moment to say thank you to all of my patrons, especially my Red Panda level patrons, Dr. Laura Schenk, Dr. Stephen Williamson, Barbara Bennett, Jenny Owens, Melissa Reed, Carrie Kirkpatrick, John Lewis, who is also here for stickers, Kevin Williams, and Cormac McMuffin. Meow. And don't forget, you can support the podcast for as little as $3 a month by going to patreon.com/Rossifari. I also want to say thank you to everyone who sent in stories recently, and I apologize in advance if I missed some. I'm worried I might have missed some. But the people that I didn't miss are as follows. Anya Keene, Colleen Linehan, Kim Cooley-Croninger, Carrie Kirkpatrick, Kevin Williams, Emily Rockbuck, Dr. Natalie Taco, Tatum Flores, Justin Williams, Turan Hanton, Dr. Laura Schenk, Ren Howell, Jacob Zinn, Holly Page, Nikki Morley, Ethan Ferguson, Dr. Zoe Rossi, Barbara Bennett, Ken Tryon, Marianne Rossi, Ann Yoshioka, Kristen Dickey, Jake Cash, Ali Malensky, Kay Malensky, April Taylor, Daniel Cohen, Kelly Palawi, Rowena White, Zach Poe, Crystal Chapman, Jamie Chavez, Kristen Khalil, Maddie Pats, Jennifer Zune, Becca Robinson, Strix, Michael Sebastian, Melissa Kinney, Rick Schwartz, Sierra Bowen, Sam Evans, Stephen Rossi, Chris Infield, Nicole Lee, and Michaela Baratka. Thank you all so much for contributing. And hey, one more time, don't forget, we've got a fun little Discord community that is going strong right now. We're having a great time over there. Come check it out. And don't forget, you can even come and talk about the Zoo News episode, that we just finished. So yeah, come do the thing. We'll see you there. And if not, or if so, or whatever, we will see you on Tuesday with a brand new interview episode. So until then, remember, friends, the words Newsy Credits Backwards are Steiderk Yiswen.
The Rossifari podcast is produced, hosted, and engineered by John Rossi. Editing and fact-checking by John and Dr. Zoe Rossi. Our theme song is Sevens by Nathan Burke, performed by Nathan and John. Interrupting John theme and additional voices by Taylor Isaac Gray. You can reach John directly on Instagram and Facebook at Rossifari or by email at rossifaripod@gmail.com. Rossifari is part of the Daydreamer Media Network. Now, stop listening to me and go visit a zoo.
So basically what happened was we went back in, we got the thing on our shoes to make our shoes less slippery. And
Wait, what?
Yeah, you step on this mat and there's a fluid inside there.
Yeah, it's a disinfectant. It has nothing to do with slipperiness. You're just making that up.
I thought that's what it was.
That's okay. That's really funny, though.
This, okay.
No, absolutely not. No. So it's a disinfectant so that the stuff on your shoes doesn't hurt the pinnipeds and get in the water. See? Yeah.
Yeah, let's put this at the end then. Like, cut it out here and put it at the end. Okay.